Act 5, Scene 1, the plains of Philippi a few weeks later. So, the last time we saw the Brutus and company, it was roughly 2 years, give or take, a few months or a few weeks, since the killing of Caesar. They decided at the very end, especially after the ghost came, to say we're going to march towards Philippi so that we will meet Antony's troops in the middle and have it out and have our war. So now we see, we're at the Battle of Philippi. We're at the plains. So this is where it's going to play out. It's very important that you keep an eye on these individuals, these characters, because before a war starts, if you've ever seen a big period piece war like in Braveheart, some other big war, before they start in Troy, before the battle, they come marching up to each other, and then they might send their generals out to talk. Okay, and there could be a couple things. Maybe this is your last chance for peace. Maybe it's to taunt each other. If in Troy, to send out their one champion to fight in representation of the rest of the army, so whoever wins, the war could be done at that moment. If you've seen The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, at the very end, as they're standing outside the Black Gate, okay, and then Sauron's messenger, the guy with no eyes and the big pointy teeth, he comes out to talk to Aragorn, and they're figuring out what's going to happen, and they decide that the war's going to happen. And so we see it play out here, where the generals of both armies. So on one side, we have Antony and Octavius, and on the other side, we have Brutus and Cassius, the conspirators. Look at the jabs that they take, the figurative jabs, not actual fighting, that they take with one another here at this particular scene. And then ultimately, the war is getting ready to commence on the next scene. So, Scene 1, the plains of Philippi. So we have the two groups back and forth, and those two generals from each side. Brutus, words before blows. Is it so, countrymen? So let's talk it over before we have our battle. Antony's response: in your bad strokes, Brutus, you give. Brutus says, words before blows. Is it so, countrymen? Not that we love words better as you do. Oh, good words are better than bad strokes, Octavius. So he's almost talking down to him again, which they will repeatedly hear. Antony's response and counter: in your bad strokes, Brutus, you give good words. Witness the hole you made in Caesar's heart, crying, long live, hail Caesar. Oh, Antony, the posture of your blows are yet unknown. But for your words, they rob the high plebeians and leave them honeyless. Oh, not stingless too. So they're just back and forth, a bunch of rhetoric and discourse, words, phrases, just to taunt one another. Finally, Antony has enough and goes, villains! You did not so when your vile daggers hacked one another in the sides of Caesar. You showed your teeth like apes, you grinned like apes, and fawned like hounds, and bowed like bondmen, kissing Caesar's feet, whilst damned Casca, like a cur behind, struck Caesar in the neck. Oh, you flatterers! Cassius' response: flatterers? Now, Brutus, thank yourself this tongue had not offended so today, if Cassius might have ruled. So this is pretty much a I told you so. Flatterers, you insult Brutus, I told you so. You have nobody to thank for yourself. Because if you had done what I said, he would not be doing this right now. So it's really a snap, 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 I told you so type attitude. There needs to be no response. Cassius has wanted to say this for 2 years. We should kill him. No, we're not going to kill him. Okay, well, you shouldn't let him speak at the funeral. Oh, we're going to let him speak at the funeral. If they had just killed him, or even if he had let him live but not let him speak, where would they be now? Maybe he would be at home with Portia. Maybe they would be in charge. Things could be a lot different. So that's something to keep in mind there. Good. Octavius, after being called villains and Cassius and all that stuff. Oh, Octavius wasn't called a villain, and his buddy Antony did. But anyways, he pulls out a sword and says, I draw a sword against conspirators. When think you that the sword goes up again? So I pull out this sword from my scabbard. When do you think it's going to go away? That I put it away? Never. Till Caesar's 33 wounds be well avenged. Or till another Caesar have added slaughter to the swords of traitors. So until Caesar has been avenged, or another Caesar, me, is killed by traitors' swords. Look at Brutus's response. It's brilliant. He goes, Caesar, thou canst not die by traitors' hands unless thou bringest them with thee. So Octavius is saying that I will avenge and put this sword away victoriously, or I will be killed by traitors' swords again, like another Caesar. Oh, Octavius, you will not be killed by traitors unless you brought them with you. Because Brutus is saying we're not traitors. Because remember, Brutus, we've done all we've done for the benefit of Rome. He fully believes that. You will see by the end of this play what others think of him, even after this 2 years of dissent and impending civil war. Because this is civil war. One side is going to think the other side to be traitors. And conversely, so both sides think that they're in the right, so the opposites are traitors. And so it's a wonderful line there. Wonderful line. If you look at the next page, after they've exited, Brutus and Cassius are left on stage, along with Messala. And Messala is a lieutenant of Brutus's army. Cassius talks to Messala about these images and omens that they've had, and how they should be interpreted. Now, there isn't so much a supernatural element here like we've seen throughout, but it's more about superstition and implying what certain things mean and how they relate to the present day situation. So follow along with me on line 79. He says that coming from Sardis on our former ensign, so our foremost banner, where you have your flags and all of that stuff, 2 mighty eagles fell, and there they perched, gorging and feeding from our soldiers' hands. Who to Philippi here consorted us? So a company. So we had like 2 little pets, 2 eagles. Now eagles aren't like doves or hummingbirds. These are mighty eagles. Why do you think that it's the symbol of America, the bald eagle? Mighty, powerful bird, just power. And 2 of them followed with us and sat on our banner as we traveled all the way here to Philippi. Now this morning, are they fled away and gone? So the morning of the battle, they've left. And in their steads do ravens, crows, and kites fly over our heads and downward look on us, as we were sickly prey. Their shadows seem a canopy most fatal, under which our army lies, ready to give up the ghost. So in the place of these wonderful birds are birds associated with death. And anytime you see, driving down the road, you see some birds circling, that means something's dead or dying below. You see it in movies and TVs and cartoons, buzzards sitting next to somebody in the desert, just waiting for them to die, and they're passed out. And when you die, I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat you. And it's very similar here. So where these big, mighty eagles have left, the day that they needed them, we have these birds of death circling over us, and every time they cross the sun and their shadows circle around us and cover us, and it's almost like a blanket waiting for us of death, a blanket of death, and that's waiting for us to give up the ghost is the phrase, to die, so they can feed on us. So not a very good omen in interpretation. The next page here, Cassius and Brutus discuss, okay, let's just say, just for argument's sake, that the worst of the worst happens. Line 96, let's reason with the worst that may befall, says Cassius. If we do lose this battle, then is this the very last time we shall speak together? What are you then determined to do, Brutus? What are you going to do if we lose? And this is the last time we ever see each other. Even by the rule of that philosophy, by which I did blame Cato for the death which he did give himself, I know not how, but I do find it cowardly and vile to kill yourself, to have suicide. His father-in-law, which is Portia's father, Cato, killed himself instead of being captured, and he feels that that's extremely extremely cowardly. So Cassius's response is, oh, so would you are contented to be led in triumph through the streets of Rome? So you're going to be led a captive for people to mock and scorn and throw stuff at in defeat? Look at Brutus's response. No, Cassius, no. Think not, thou noble Roman, that ever Brutus will go bound to Rome. He bears too great a mind. He has too much pride to do that. He is too noble to be led in such chains and squalor, and it's not going to happen. But this day, same day must end that work, the Ides of March begun. And whether we shall meet again, I know not. Therefore our everlasting farewell take, forever and forever. Farewell, Cassius. If we do meet again, why, we shall smile. If we ever meet again, that means we're victorious and we're going to smile. And if not, why, then this parting was well made. So it was a good thing that we said goodbye. Whatever happens today, the ball that started rolling on the Ides of March, Caesar's death, it will end today, either victoriously or in defeat, by living and celebrating and smiling at one another, or in death. Whether that means captured, and it doesn't sound like either of these guys wants to be captured, so they will kill themselves before they become captured. And we will see whether that actually happens or not.